And good evening, free enterprise fans. My name is Dathis. I'm joined by PK4787, and we are in the the semifinal round of the Fabul Gauntlet. We have number one seed Invenerable taking on number five seed Fleury14. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. That was quite the race there that just wrapped up between Moonblaze Wolf and Rivers McCown. These are best of three. This is the opening round for these two, and I'm pumped to be here. It looks like they're both leaving the name screen open to hide the starting character from us, which, you know, as commentators is always fun.
Absolutely, but I think the most fun right now is some of the objectives we've got going on. The old lady in the Kaipo Inn, but yeah, the different starting characters is always the best part. Are we going to get Team 90 HP? Are we going to get Old Man and Old Man? The differences and the different characters we can get to start are probably my absolute favorite. What about you? Who are you excited to see as our starting character?
There's always the entertainment of an incredibly weak starting party, but with Fleury and Inven, I mean, what I'm really hoping for the duration of this race is some intriguing character locations or some intriguing objectives hidden in places far out of reach, because I don't think either of these guys are going to struggle. Basically, no matter who they end up starting with. And though they received from Inven, it is Dark Knight Cecil, so not the highest value character to start with.
Absolutely. Dark Knight Cecil, he is great when he becomes a paladin, and if you can find that black sword somewhere out there, he then becomes okay. Aside from that, he is sort of a mixed bag. Like, he's okay, he's got some decent speed, he's got some okay HP, but for the most part he is not someone you're looking for as like a great start, maybe a second or third character, but still pair him with a white mage and we are off. We did have a bit of a delay because we were waiting for the RPG Limit Break race, who has rated us. Thank you very much for joining us, friends. And Cecil is the lovers duo to start, with a flavor of Mylon, handing out a defense sword. Great for when he transforms, not so much great to start with, but we do have, in fact, the one true pairing start.
It's true, wherever Kane is, either in the seed or somewhere else, he is he's grinding his teeth right now. And it looks like we'll get our first look at the first five objectives, but this is a white mage. This is a eventually very powerful character in Dark Knight Cecil, so, you know, two things that you're looking for out the gate.
First thing we're looking for is these objectives. We have the Plague, Rat Tail, Antline, defeat the Queen, and trade away the Pink Tail. So double tails this time, so hook and tails required. One boss hunt, and it actually doesn't seem to be that bad of objectives right now. The Queen of Summon Monsters, people generally fade March, not going to be happening this seed though.
Nope. As far as rudeness is concerned, these key items, as you mentioned, you do need the hook to turn into tails. But personally, I'm hoping that hook isn't the only way underground that they have to begin with. So hopefully these tails or these bosses are hidden somewhere relatively far away from where we are right now.
Well, what we do know is the true tale of the seed is how long it's going to take for them to go run up ordeals. We do have a little bit of divergence. Fleury doing the checkout in Watery Pass, which is a very high tier item location, item dense with some higher ups, whereas Invenerable is checking out the Dempsey Underground, and he finds himself a Soma drop. If we find a little bit of an old man somewhere, that's going to be great for either Fusoi or Tella. Extra 10 MP does absolute magic for them. Whereas if we don't see them, that Soma drop's not so great.
Nope, a decent amount of money here. But yeah, you're looking for, with this, you know, the Rosa, the Cecil, they will be able to put out damage, you know, after maybe ordeals, or Rosa gets a few levels or a good bow, but you're going to be wanting right now, as far as maybe one of those higher powered J items to get through these early checks that we're going to see at least.
Absolutely. And speaking of wanting, they're going to be wanting to check that waterfall. That was a demoness that we saw hiding out there. Normally, a place that you see the back of the waterfall, you go, boss done. But with Demas there, that's going to be a fairly prized location in a couple levels. Hobbs not paying out, though, is just a duplicate Rosa. I didn't quite see. I think I saw that was another flavor of Mylon there. But yeah, absolutely. Invenerable probably making the most righteous call there and just noping out of that location. I agree with that. Oh, was it DMs? Sorry. Thank you, chat and Antidale. Dark Imps, free boss, good experience, but you kind of leave that.
No new character. Maybe you want some XP on Rosa, but really at this point, you are looking for key items, and it looks like Fleury. We'll see if he checks that miss kit, the watery pass there, because as you mentioned, that's some valuable information to have, even though you're not going to take that fight until you've got some additional levels.
Absolutely. The knowledge about where D-Mist is generally one of the big hunts is the big problem. It's a key item. It could possibly be another character check, or it could just be a fairly decent tier item. Most part is, again, just the knowledge. Samurai Bow, Bandana, and Poison Arrows on that Rosa, though, she is going to be dishing out some good damage right here, as Invenerable takes on Antlion, and Fleury absolutely red hot on his heels.
Those extra checks, I saw Fleury got a Stardust, so if I see those Dark Imps up there and I'm Fleury, that's one click and some very good additional XP, whereas we saw Inven reset out of that, which might make a difference moving forward. But as far as this early game goes, there's not going to be too much of a difference in the timing until it hits some sort of roadblock. They're both very, very quick runners.
Speaking of roadblock, this is not one of them. This is a really great place for the runners to find Bahamut. Low HP, fairly slow-ish speed, so Rosa and Cecil should be putting a good hurt on him, knocking him down probably by the time he hits the 1. But Fleury also double-checking and seeing something. We saw the Drain Sword sitting in there. We may get some cheeky strats later on, but Bahamut, not long for this world. That's a good chunk of levels chunk of XP. Only a single level each, though.
Mom counting down to bedtime, and you're like, no, but I can't save. And she's like, well, save the game. And you're like, but I can't. There's no save spot. She's like, well, I'm going to count down from 5, and just not threatening in this situation.
Speaking of bedtime, Cat Claws puts your enemies asleep, sells for a good amount of money. Still not a key item, though. So far, the seed, not exactly giving the runners anything. And Fleury about to find the good news there, too. But Inven leaving the cave, gonna see where he goes next. Does he fade Fabul, or does he go right up to that ordeals with that 1 extra level?
I think maybe he was looking at... Oh, there's a Thunderclaw as well, so definitely a Yang or an Edge in this seed is going to be a huge get. Maybe Inven was looking for, some sort of J item to get through those Dark Imps, because, even with that Rosa, they're going to get several hits off, and you don't really have the strength without a J item. So we'll see where he tries to go next. But you don't have the XP really to, want to run up ordeals, or even, a means boss in the Baron Inn isn't going to be very helpful here either.
That is true. We haven't had either of our runners go and check Baron, so we don't know the character there. We don't know the boss that's sitting there. We could have something easy. Also, that is a very, very nice sight of a black sword. Probably not going to be picked up, but I do see Inven is going to be grabbing some arrows, selling a fair amount of the bank. There goes that cat. Oh, a lot of us selling it. But there's the mute arrows. That's what he was talking about. And yeah, picking up the black sword. Cecil's actually going to be able to pull his weight a little bit now. But mute arrows, probably some of the best that he could find. And silk webs. Silvara actually having a fair amount of goods here.
Silk webs are, it's a nice pickup to see there, because now you don't have to worry about, having one for the Zeromus fight. Fleury right on Inven's heels, though, so gonna probably make the same checks. I would be looking for a bow here, and that Black Sword was something I almost mentioned off the beginning, because that does really transform Dark Knight Cecil into from a nothing character to a B- character in the early game.
PK, please. He's a B- at the very best. It is C+ at the very worst. No, Dark Knight Cecil, again, all of his power comes from when he transforms into a paladin and he becomes absolutely S tier. But if you can't handle him through the glow up, you don't deserve him. But as we can see, Fleury also grabbing some stuff, going to be getting some of those silk webs too. And we have Invenerable checking out Fabul. The defense is fighting against Cecil's fighting himself on the way here, though.
Spicy justice. Justice is for everyone, or whatever we have going here. It's like, dude, it's me. It's your twin. Stop throwing these things at me. But this should be free enough.
Yeah, bit of a high roll in Rosa. She's not going to get the XP. Gets that life potion out really quickly, though. So, gonna get that XP. Very nice. And Fleury is about to find the good or the bad news about those Dark Imps and the dupe Rosa. So, we're going to see if he stays here or if he just leaves. Oh, looks like he's taking the fight.
He does have that Stardust, as I had said, and that it was a drastic difference in whether you want to take this fight or not, as if you have something that can clear them out in one shot.
Yeah, as you say it, it's showing up on the screen, and 700 damage, they're absolutely gone. Whereas Invenerable is going to give a key item check. That is a hook route we have. That is one of 3 key items that is required.
Let's hope that sticks. I don't want any of these magma keys showing up on ordeals. We know everyone's going to do ordeals. I would be interested to know, given the party that you have, there is some very high quality loot that's a higher tier shop that you can get there, as well as a bonus character check. So I would be interested to see if anyone decides to go in there early, just to see what you can pull out before you make these other checks that you're going to make before taking that hook route.
Well, the nice thing you can do, you can drop a save outside of the Mount Ordeals, go grab the hovercraft, land it there, see what's characters there, and then if it is a dupe, or you can just reset back and I'll just deal with this later. But then again, as you mentioned, the amount of loot that is in Cave Evelyn itself, plus the shop, super worth it. Whereas Fleury is doing the mirror matchup on his screen.
And there it is, Inven making that dive, taking that save, as you mentioned. I would be amazed if you don't do at least some looting. Those first 2 checks at least, and then check out the shops as well, might sway your opinion on whether you're going to take that character one way or the other.
And we may find one of the more elusive and one of the better items in Evelyn Cave is actually in those cabins. Great item for you to be picking up. They're going to be going camping sometime soon. Ice Claw for sale? Yes, snap buy. If there's a Yang, he's going to absolutely love that. Whereas Yang or Edge, actually. Whereas the rest of the items in that shop, nothing special. Dwarf X if we need a back row glitch. Kane if we find him. But aside from that, nothing really special. Whereas Fleury finishes the defense and is going to be wandering around the overworld himself.
This is going to be an interesting play. We'll get a look at who the character is here. Not having checked the Baron in character, it's
that's a reward.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Overworld absolutely free. That Edge, the amount of speed that he has on him, he just will tear through the 4 Overworld bosses we have remaining, and will give a good run of damage that this team absolutely needs. That is a blue robe, though, as chat pointed out. There's one of 2 bosses that could possibly be. That is either everyone's least favorite, the Water Hag, or the Alt Gauntlet down here, everyone's favorite to find.
And for those of you who remember, I lost to Inven in the opening round of this bracket stage to basically me skipping a check that led to an early Edge. And so Inven and finding an Edge before his opponent is looking like a pretty solid duo right now, depending on what Fleury chooses to do here.
Speaking of, he's continuing shopping percent, finds himself some Star Veils up in Tamra, whereas Invenerable, as Chad has mentioned, does have the option of back rowing that Edge. So if he really wants to, he could just have this entire group sit in the back row, have Edge pump out all the DPS with Rosa, and Cecil just kind of stand there and pretend he's pretty. Whereas this is really, really good with a longsword, a boomerang, and the 2 of the 3 really nice elemental claws that are necessary for this fight.
And it looks like going back to this armor shop here. I don't recall what we saw here. The weapon shop. I don't remember what was of specific value. And there he goes. He sold the cat claw. So chat can at least be happy for him in there.
Yeah, the big thing is he was picking up the pair of those long swords because he needs them. Edge needs to do the most amount of damage. As I mentioned, he is going to be putting these pair onto his back, especially putting Cecil onto his back right now. But yeah, that's done. And another nice little benefit of Edge is that this is one of 3 characters that helps with your grind issues. With the advent of the T-Pro flags that we've been running throughout the entirety of these brackets, the Sirens are no longer guaranteed in any shop except for the possibility of finding them in Kukul's shop. Now that's a 2-item key item required shop. However, there is also the opportunity for Edge to be stealing those Sirens from any one of the Searcher type enemies. But we also have a bit of the runners high-fiving here on Ordeals as they both have the same idea. However, Invenerable absolutely going to be crushing these bosses a little faster than Fleury.
Oh, this is just flashbacks to my race with Inven here, as Ordeals was what blocked me from proceeding forward, and I had to go and locate that edge. And at that point, you realize, okay, if he got that, then I might have to make some gambles moving forward. This is by no means, an insurmountable setback for Fleury, but when he does make that cave dive to check that character, he's going to feel a little bit behind in this.
Absolutely, and with the hook characters gating the higher tier characters such as Edge and Fusoya, definitely one of the ones you're going to want to look for. Also, just another source of DPS to help out this team, or even another mage to help along with the healing or for earlier on. However, we are seeing elements getting absolutely barbecued up and then put through by Invenerable, whereas we go from Mylon, we do see Rubicante being swapped over to on Fleury's side, probably also not long for this world. However, Inven, through the first fight, giving us a look at the second round.
Oh, Fleury gives us a quick look at that leg, which, as everyone knows, is glamorous.
But wait, there's more.
Double leg.
Never skip leg day, chat.
Never skip leg day.
All right.
This is pretty glorious. I have to say, that ice claw that the Inven made that purchase of, although we'll see if that glare, we'll slow Inven down a little bit, but that ice claw, those claws that he purchased and found are going to be huge for any potential elemental damage moving forward.
Look at that, with one hit puts down Rubicant with the ice claw. Absolutely fantastic. Also want to give a quick shout out to Michael O'Foz in the chat, dropping a 5 gift bomb. Thank you very much for all the love and all the gifts. Guys, enjoy your emotes, throw up the Z flags, and make sure to thank your gifter. But yeah, one quick hit, there goes Rubicante. Whereas Fleury might have a little bit more of an issue with this, with the lower amount of damage.
Yeah, this is still probably doable here. This is, the back attack spot is potentially the location where the damage that you can put out can potentially gate you from moving forward. But hopefully the aim is gonna prevent those counters with the fire too. So it's just gonna be a longer fight, would be my guess, but not out of the realm of something that you can get through here.
Absolutely, and something that's out of the realm is we might see Fleury actually not pick up this edge, because we do have the magma key also here up on the and a required boss sitting in Ordeals required, and then required again in a little bit of an extra sense. But we're getting a nice way underground for Fleury, but he may miss out on that edge unless he's somewhere else in the seed. There
are only 7 unique characters, so it's certainly possibility that we do see another edge. But as you said, with this Magma Key, with this Cecil, with this edge, huge probability that we see Inven go and try to load up on a Siren or two before, potentially clearing anything else in the seed.
Absolutely. Getting Cecil a couple levels with that defense sword specifically, he and Edge are going to be able to throw out a whole heck of a lot of damage, whereas Fleury is getting himself through the Rubicon fight fairly easily, using some of the life potions that he had in his opening stock. But again, nothing really to scoff at while Rosa gets herself a couple levels.
And that ends the leg bridge, but Inven definitely with the character advantage. Fleury did do a little additional shopping, but not having checked that hook is going to be the story, at least of the early game so far.
Absolutely, and with knowing where that D-Mist is, the hook route absolutely completely unattractive. So we're most likely going to see Inven drop that Magma Key down. Fleury probably going to do the same. Hopefully doesn't forget to check the character, because as we said, Edge and Fu, only two characters that are gated by key items, and are the ones you're going to want to see the most, especially on seeds like this. That is the best part about those kind of characters, and also kind of the worst aspect where they're just completely hidden, or as you mentioned, with the fact we only have a unique 7, we might not see them in general. However, Invenerable does the back row glitch on Cecil and is going to be checking out to see who the character is in Baron.
Perfect Paladin here throwing out another 5 gift subs. Thank you very much. The support in the last few races on Free Enterprise has been overwhelming, and not too much tournament left to go, so we need to get this in so we can use as many flags and as many of these emotes as possible. Get our first look at the character here. That makes that dispense sword even better here.
That's a cane, that's a sparkle. It's just a little bit of a nope rope. It's a little bit of a danger noodle here. Gets one hit, danced around, and we're going to see what the second fight is, because that could be whether this cane is going to be a lot nicer or not. That is an Octomono. He's going to get knocked down pretty quick. But again, Zoe Vermilion also donating another 5 gift subs to the chat. Guys, really enjoy, and make sure you thank your gifters. We really appreciate everyone who subs. The amount of outpouring and support you guys have been given has been amazing lately. From all rounds, anyone who watches, whether you sub or not, we absolutely appreciate everyone who comes out and supports these racers one way or the other.
100%, and we'll see if Inven even takes the time to do it. This is another one of those elemental claw attacks that you can use is on this Octomom here. And Fleury making that dive immediately. Zero Zealous with 5 more gift subs. The hype train. Have we maxed out the hype train? This is only maybe the second time I've seen it on this channel.
Yeah, I'm still relatively new to the hype train. Although we do, speaking of hype, Inven's got a little bit of it, because he's got 1 of 2 required additional key items. Baron in, super required. Keep that cane. Let him do some damage for you. But that is absolutely a necessary Baron in to be done. Hopefully Fleury doesn't sleep on that for too long, looking for the key items. But Invenerable got a commanding-ish lead already 20 minutes in.
Yep, and as you mentioned, that edge not only dealing damage, but giving you just free access to those sirens that otherwise would have no real ability to show up unless you got the Adamant and the Legend Sword and Kukul's shop. So Inven, with a lot of potential here, not going to have to worry about getting XP. And with that Rat Tail, gonna check off another objective. So that's 2 out of 5 done, but it looks like Fleury making this dive into the cave. So hopefully, I would assume you want to peek the boss here because you are on a boss hunt and you will pick up that edge. So some time lost, but not anything that I think Fleury can't make up moving forward.
This is very true. Speaking of fives, we have actually a pair of fives, both Margaret Ann and Coffee and Chocobos, gifting 5 specific each. Y'all guys are showing some absolute love to the community. You guys are actually the true heroes. Our runners are putting on the show. You guys are showing the gifts, and we appreciate everything that you guys are doing. But yeah, Fleury, it does not actually miss out on that edge. He's a little behind on grabbing it, but he is going to be picking himself up that character. Wonder if he peeks the King Queen Evelyn spot while Invenerable is taking out this D-Mist.
Someone in chat mentioned that they hope that Inven doesn't forget the D-Mist. Inven is not the type of person to forget most things when running this. He is the #1 seed for a reason. But this could, because we haven't seen Fleury make this check, if this leads to something of value or a chain that leads to nothing, it could either give Inven a dramatic lead or give Fleury the opportunity to, from lack of information, catch back up in this race.
Absolutely. And another thing is also mentioned by chat is the fact that we have the ability for a vanilla end party right here. We have Cecil, we have Edge, we have Kane, we have Rosa. If we find Iridia somewhere, I think chat might be getting the pitchforks out for me. Guys, I'm commentating. I didn't roll this. Believe me, I had no handiwork in the background of this. This is all Snapey, and also a shout out to Twisted Flax as well, our restreamer and our tracker. These guys do the real hard work. Where PK and I, we just get to sit back, chat with you guys. And again, thank additionally Ground Flyer for all the gift subs. You guys have been showing the true love besides this lover start.
Yeah, given the vanilla we've seen here, though, Dathis, I think the only booth we might be allowed to let you in is some sort of soundproof booth as far away from the internet as possible if we want to get anything.
Look, guys, just don't kick me off the commentary. Oh, speaking of nice things, did you see what was in that bed, though? Trying to get it away from the other topic. That's a Fusoya sitting up there. And additional 5 more gift subs from Bals. That is... You guys are just showing everybody, giving everybody these emotes. But yes, that absolutely was a bed foo. We find ourselves a Sand Ruby. We got ourselves a fairly powerhouse team. Whereas Inven's going to check out to see what Iridia's mom's holding.
And that means, there's the potential for a foo somewhere else in the seed. And as far as these bracket flags go, this is one of the more generous first 4 with the potential 5th character being a foo. You're a cursed ring away from, having absolutely no interest in picking up another character for the rest of this race. If you find that Sand Ruby.
That is very, very true. And while we were talking about all the gift subs that were going out, that hype train that we had gave a total of 48 subs to the channel. Again, guys, thanks to the people who have given you the gift. We want to thank you guys all for all the support that we have. Without you, we'd have these runs still going on, but it wouldn't be to the fantastic people that we have going on. Y'all are fantastic. Make sure that you check out both the rest of the races that are coming. Come join us on Discord. This is probably one of the most welcoming communities. I'm a little bit of a... Oh, but actually, sorry, let me interrupt that. We have a sighted boss in Mist Cavern. That is required D-Mist. That is another boss out of the way. Inven just finding all the items right quick.
That is some phenomenal value in 2 spots that, typically... maybe you peek, maybe you ignore until later in the game when you're feeling desperate. But in Ranger World TV with 5 more, I've got to say this is absolutely amazing. And on top of this, maybe if Skull is here in the chat, but I think this opens up more emotes for everybody who's a subscriber to these channels. So this is just, the support is phenomenal, and the amount of things that the great Scala Kitty with the sprites might be able to do with this is also just going to make this 10 times better.
Absolutely. And to clarify something in chat asked by Mechalink, I said the Mist Cavern is what I meant. D-Mist location was required. So my misspeaking, a little bit of confusion. And as you can see, also answering chat, Rat was in Baron Inn, so Baron Inn is required. The key is not required as of yet. It could still hold the Pinktail, but we don't know for sure. Fleury is doing a little bit of stepping over of Invenerable's footsteps, and Invenerable is actually finally going through Fleury's and is dropping that Magnum Key, probably going to be heading down underground, and in sub 30 minutes, a very quick time underground at that.
And as backup pointed out in the chat, given that the queen of the town of monsters is available. Really, the only thing that Inven needs right now is a Pinktail to be in technically go mode, and the subs just keep coming in. EDX Rosa with this 13 tier 1 subs. This is amazing.
Absolutely. We've hit somewhere around the 70-ish mark so far this stream. Again, thank you very much. It's not about the subs. It's about the fact that you guys are just around watching this. We appreciate everybody. Gift sub or not, y'all are fantastic. Again, we appreciate everything. Fleury is one of the first ones to turn in that rat tail, finds a charm rod. Nothing quite special, no other key item. We didn't have the cheeky rat tail into pink tail check, but still pretty fantastic. While Invenerable reminds us, always check your freebies.
That was I was chatting with Inven after his second race of his last round, and that was, we were like, well, you know, it wouldn't have really hurt, but the mantra for this entire round of 32 has just been check your freebies, and that time it does not pay out.
Okay, true, but if he hadn't have picked up those longswords, that full moon is the same equivalent power, so it's not a bad item to find. It's the same power source, gives him the back row, which he already got from one of the boomerangs he found, but he is going to give us a quick look at what are these two bosses in the Feymarch are, while Fleury is going through and fighting that D-Mist. And we have a Lunar Sparkle as the king, and we have a Flavor of Mylon sitting as the Queen Asura spot. So not a bad fight. If it's Mylon Z, it's not too terrible. If it's Mylon and Friends, a little bit less scary. So fairly easy fight. And in question chat, what if Plague? Can't be Plague. Plague was actually in Mist Cavern. So it is either not Ogopogo, and it can't be Plague. So it's one of three bosses: D-Lunars, Wyvern, or Pale Dim.
Yeah, so that... I mean, that fight down there, winnable, we saw, and there's a curse ring as well in the armor shop, which is huge. I would assume Inven does not have anything that deals specific flame damage, given that he has noped out of this. Those punches are still going to hurt depending on what Mylon it is, but with the right equipment, don't need an incredible amount of levels to get through that.
And again, Asuka424 giving another 5 gift subs in the chat. You guys are just blowing us all away here. Fleury getting his Baron Key. Invenerable saying, nah, we'll come back to the Feymarch. I do agree with him not checking it now. Those spots hit pretty hard. Rosa doesn't have Blink yet. He has one illusion, which is, I mean, it's okay, but those spots, especially Asura, is a very speedy spot. She's going to hit pretty quickly. She's going to hit fairly hard in the Mylon of the Asura, and it's going to be absolutely a rough hit, whereas Fleury is going to be finding his required boss in the Plague and is going to be catching up in those objectives.
To quote Rivers, you do love to see it. You don't want something like this freebie kind of hidden in plain sight to be the reason that maybe you don't the race doesn't remain competitive moving forward. This is big. The Sheila 1 check, Inven very much sticking to this check your freebies play. So this will give Fleury a chance to, potentially route differently, because really now they're just both looking for the pink tail, and that's it.
Absolutely. And speaking of routing differently, Fleury is checking in Tomra, finding black belts, a nice alternative to the power shirts or anything along those lines if you're looking for it. Maybe we'll have a job towards check while we have Invenerable giving us a check at that other key item. And it's an Earth Crystal, not a pink tail, but that is another 2 characters as well as another key item check.
Illusions also nice to have. Not going to get validation. In all fairness, given the amount of pressure and how fast you're trying to run these, I think giving the people what they want, unfortunately, is not the first thing on either of these runners' minds.
Absolutely. And Inven, I'm going to go cash in that Earth Crystal really quickly. So the nice thing is with the check in the Troya Castle. This treasury has 18 treasure chests, and each have a 1% chance at a tier 7 piece of loot. This treasury is the best source of loot in the game if you're looking for anything to really spice up your team's damage-wise. And with these trio of bruisers, you're going to want a heck of a lot of damage. Him going and checking these areas, so far all we see is a strength ring, apple. There's a free siren. And a couple of claws, so a pair of sirens, claws, and a strength ring. Not a bad set of looting overall. Good to sell some of that stuff, but as an overall, pretty medium as far as those places can be.
And thank you, Microcorgs, as well, for throwing in another 5 gift subs. Of all of the commentary I've done, I'm not even 100% sure how to react to this. This is extreme generosity from the community. I'm happy to see Fleury found that curse ring as well. That is another thing that can hold, it can drastically change the course of a race. And just to point out, this Earth Crystal, you're going to get some good you're going to get some good items from it, but knowing that there's a foo in this seed, I might, strongly consider going up there, because that would complete the party for me.
Absolutely. Again, 2 character checks, both gated behind the key item, so there's a decent shot that your foo is there. Looks like he might be listening in on us. PK, just because you lost to him doesn't mean you have to give him tips from the booth. Relax. But no, this is a decent play. Going 2 characters. You don't need to do the boss hunts anymore. We're done with that. But the more important thing is the possibility of where that pink tail is, or maybe even one of those chain items that could possibly lead to the pink tail.
So I would think in his mind it was maybe between this and going to Dwarf Castle, or maybe even popping 1 or 2 of those sirens that you got. But I think this is going to be an interesting play, and Fleury, even lacking that edge early, I would say is maybe 90 seconds to 2 minutes right on Inven's heels, doing that Sheila 1 check as well.
Absolutely. And Invenerable actually equipping that Ice Claw, getting lucky. First chest is that Trap Chest. Trap Chests have a higher tier of loot. Just a Stardust Rod, I say just, still a great item if you find a Black Mage. Right now, nothing of value until we either find that Foo, or we find, say, Iridia, or even a Quack Kid. But we are going to be getting a look up here, whereas Fleury is following the footsteps and going to be picking up the Earth Crystal himself.
We might see divergence here, but I don't know if we saw Fleury checking who was in that bed. And with the party that you have right now, if you don't know there's a foo in this seed, given that you can, again, steal these sirens, it's not a terrible choice to maybe go somewhere else. But definitely interested to see. We still have 2 characters. I believe that we don't know who are out there. So hopefully maybe we can get a little more intel here from Inven as well, so I can share it with him.
Absolutely, it's good to know about that. The thing is, though, it's with Edge and this fairly decently geared Cecil in your group, you should just be clearing out the overworld before you can go underground. That's a Kegnazo here at the Magus Sister spots. These waves are not going to hit very lightly if he gets through there. 1 Thor Rage, an Ice Claw, though. This Edge is going to be hitting fairly decently.
I would even... Well, I don't know if Rosa has Berserk yet. That might have been why he considered making that turn once you picked up those free sirens, because Ice Claw, Thunder Claw, or even, double Thunder Claw, even though it doesn't do any additional damage, just for the sake of double Thunder Claw. But even with that wave up, he won't do enough damage to really threaten your team, and you get the bonus damage when the wave is up with the Thunder.
This is very true, and we see that bonus damage you see out there. His other hits were doing about 600 to 800, and with that Thunderclaw, he's popping 1,1300 damage. These waves, not long for this world. I don't even think he's going to try and drop it down. He's just going to let Edge absolutely bonk him down. Whereas Fleury is going back to Baron, and is going to be cracking open that crystal as opposed to, the key, as opposed to checking this Earth Crystal.
I am happy to see this. I do like Divergence. Inven with the Baron key as well maybe just routed this, because you do wake up in Baron at the end of this play. So depending on what comes from Earth, we might be seeing Fleury just skipping Earth, and this could potentially give an advantage, or this could be a big game for Inven here.
And answer in chat, yes, Edge has always in fact been able to use claws. You generally didn't really put anything on him because a lot of the elemental bosses were done aside from Rubicante, which if I had remember that back in the day, I would have kept an ice claw for that. But I mean, we all learn from here. The claws can do a whole lot of work with Edge, depending on the weapons you have. But there is in fact our second shot of an Edge, and we see that the second boss in Dwarf Castle is going to be the Dark Elf.
Something terrible to see. I think in the vanilla run, is it Kane with a blizzard spear that you use against that Ruby?
No, you get the blizzard spear. Oh, no, you would get this blizzard spear at that point. But yeah, and here is in fact your Fu, as you mentioned. Both characters that can be gated behind the key item are in fact gated behind the key item, and in this seed, that is absolutely the best option you could see at the top of this tower.
That is, as I said, a great reason to have wanted to go up there. Fu very close as well to his full kit of spells. And so, again, potential edge to Inven here. Oh, and that Stardust Rod is going to be big as well. But we'll see who the character is in Baron as well very soon coming up here.
The really nice thing, though, is Fleury is doing a bit of double information. One, showing us exactly which Mylon is here, also showing us which Mylon we have to worry about. Mylon and friends in the underground, not so bad. Knock out those ads real quick, especially with the Fusoya and Quake. Going to be taken care of just as Fleury takes care of the Bylon Z, and Invenerable is taking out these guards 100% with ease on his side. Is going to be taking out the officer, hopefully getting the XP on him as well. If not, nothing really lost here.
For the sake of things sticking even, we're hoping for a Fu, but as far as the Schadenfreude of it goes, we still haven't seen any of the lesser value characters yet, and there are still 2 characters remaining in this seed. This is as far as the first 5 characters to find, I couldn't script out maybe the Kane for somebody else, but this is basically the party that you would opt for in these flag sets.
Watch how you talk about my boy. No, you're not wrong, though. This is a really great team. Also, Leviathan here in Baron Castle, different sort of waves coming out, but Invenerable actually routing that probably a little bit better than Fleury, finishes off Zot, ends up in Baron, probably going to be checking here immediately after, as we have some shakings going on, and we're going to have the crumbling of Leviathan.
And as chat points out, that was the pass from Earth Crystals, so that is... not the pink tail that you're looking for. That is worth the time going up there. You get a Fu and a pass.
Hey, look, Vanilla N team.
Oh, I don't know. What would you rather have? A Fu with 1500 HP or a level 1 Radia?
PK, please. Don't tease me like that. I think we would, considering the way this party is, and we have access to a cursed ring, I would actually probably kill off the... Actually, no, I'd keep... Because you can just have Fusoya be your anchor and have him do a lot of the heavy lifting. Now, I would definitely be Fu over Rydia. As much as I love my little summoner girl, she'd have me taking a back seat. Whereas Invenerable is about to smack around a Mylon Z. And thrown out with the trash is a Sand Ruby. Gives us access to that Fu. So,
oh, wow.
So there is Fu access. So you were correct. There is Fu access here in Baron, just in a roundabout way.
That is an impressive way for this seed to try to keep them even. We'll see if that pass... I mean, that pass is going to probably come into play, considering the final 2 objectives are both on the blue planet. but this means that it's still very much going to come down to routing as to, who has a potential lead at this point.
There's a Valhalla sitting underneath Baron. That's a quick nope out. I do not blame Fleury for that. Maybe come back here in a couple of levels, but leave the spinning girl all on her own right there. Fleury doing a bit of a change up, wandering around, not going to go get his hook. He is going to go and grab this Fusoya and see what's in the bed character and be very, very happy to pick that up.
Yeah, I would have been a little concerned had he flown past this character. Whether you've checked this character or not, you definitely, with the Sand Ruby in hand, are willing to make this walk over here.
Speaking of walking, Riddy has given her walking papers. She was in the seed, and we had a vanilla party for all of, 2 minutes? Hey, I was super happy about that. Whereas Invenerable just blitzes through that Leviathan with a Lit 3 and is going to be rewarded with his own Kidia, which he's going to say, nope, sorry, go relax somewhere safe. And Fleury is leaving Kaipo and headed on to his next location.
Yeah, from the moment he saw her, he was trying to get rid of you.
And Fleury is going back underground, ignoring the Tower of Zot. Might pan out for him, maybe not, as he's going to Dwarf to see what we got here. We are still looking for access to the moon, and we still have a couple of key items that we don't have. There is this location here, as well as we have the location of Keyless Tower, which we know is one of Invenerable's favorite classics.
Keyless Tower has had a lot of value, and with those two sirens, the value of potentially stealing sirens has decreased. But they're, depending on what you want to do, that would be looming over me right now. Would be the Queen at the Town of Monsters is required and potentially a key item check. So, you really want to try to get that done as quickly as possible, just for the sake of, if that happens to have the pink tail, you don't want to be the one looking foolish for not, completing the things, as I think it was Demarin said, do the things that that you can do and see if they yield value.
Speaking of value, I'm getting my value all out of Dwarf Castle. We have vanilla dolls here, whereas Venerable's getting his value out over on the island, so he can grab himself a little bit of XP, cracking one of those two sirens so he can bolster up the levels of his characters.
I mean, Dathis, I know you're from Canada, but we might have to move you to Antarctica after this one.
PK, please. It's too warm there.
And Inven uses both sirens, so this to me looks like probably a play at going to the Queen of the Town of Monsters. It's only Mylon and friends. It's only DJ Mylon. So you're not too scared. You have, I believe, Quake now with Fu, so all you have to really worry about are those punches that come out very periodically from Mylon.
Yeah, he's had Quake for a little bit. I think both Foos came with Quake, which is absolutely fantastic for our runners. So yeah, Mylon and friends, probably not long for the world. The real question is, do you check that other fight, and do you take that other fight as well while you're down here?
Did we check who that Sparkle was?
We did not. We have no idea who the Sparkle is. In all honesty, for Invenerable, like, obviously the smart play, go check your required first, because required could double into required, as we have. That is in fact also nuke that we see on Fusoya. That is a semi-fully powered nuke. There's a fully powered Sage. So when that Lunarian is on board, he's going to be doing a whole lot of work. Throwing that curse ring on Kane, probably the smart play, because Fusoya still isn't done carrying this team.
Probably potential Fusoya anchor at the end of this, but for the time being, Stardust Rod Fusoya with nuke is going to microwave a lot of the rest of this seed for now.
Yeah, I easily foresee some 7K nukes coming out of this, especially with these positions. I really am curious to see what that Lunar Sparkle is. I hope Invenerable doesn't fade it, because if we get the pink tail here, we're not going to see anything else. Maybe checks it for the possibility of a Darkness Crystal, or he's just going to go and start stealing some Sirens. I'm not sure exactly what he's going to do his grind after this, though.
With the pass, if this did happen to turn into the pink tail, this could be a no moon seed.
This is very true, and you love to see it. Sorry, I love to see it. There's more vanilla coming out of Dwarf Castle. First the dolls, then the key. This is everything I need. Whereas Invenerable takes down his little minions, and Mylon is not long for it, where Fleury is going to go and check what's behind that key.
We'll see. We'll have to see what comes from this Mylon and friends, because if this isn't the pink tail, then anything else you do is equally as good of a choice when you're only looking for one key item. Very quickly, we'll have an idea of if this is the jettiest vanilla seed we've maybe seen in the bracket stage of this tournament, or if we are on just a hunt for a key item, and the first one to bring it to the team is probably going to be in the lead.
I don't know about you, but I came for the any percent run.
Oh, we might get a 64.
64 door? I'm still need to learn that. But we do have Fleury going through, and we have what looks like Invenerable with his Fusoya being the only one who's doing damage, which I don't blame that. That minimizes the amount of counters that we have coming through. The Lit's actually doing a little bit of damage to that Fusoya, even with a diamond ring, so that just shows you how much the magic power actually does have an effect here, even in the Asura spot.
Warlink diehard percent. That's really good. I've never heard that before. And through the queen spot, so potential value, maybe something distracting while Fleury makes this dive. That is it. That is go mode. Check
that
your
is
freebies.
Required. Always check your required boss, guys. We say this all the time, and it happens more often than you want to talk about. The real question here is, so we also see Twin Harp on Fleury's side. If he goes for that, I'm going to be kind of happy, because I do like hearing some music. It's going to be a little unfortunate, but the real question is, where's Invenerable going to do his grind? Or is he going to be very cheeky and just do solo Fu? He has talked about maybe trying to do stuff like that, but we're not 100% sure where he's going to go from this location.
I've seen Inven on his stream make some very interesting maneuvers. This is one of those situations, though, as we were talking about with the last race, not to give anything away, but when you're racing against somebody like Fleury, and maybe you took an extra check or two before you do this queen spot, you're just as likely thinking, well, that's probably what Fleury did, and I'm 3 minutes behind, so I got to do something cheeky to try to catch up.
Speaking of cheeky, pink tail giving, not the greatest of value. It's not a crystal sword, people. No, an Excalibur for free, basically, and required. That is absolutely fantastic. Picking that up, I think Inven might have had the idea of going and doing a quick solo Fu. Getting that Excal, though, no, 100% Excal with a defense sword on Kane. No, you go, you get yourself some Sirens, you grind that up, you got yourself three Berserkers, a Rosa, and a Fusoya. That is your team. That is how you're going to be finalizing this seed.
Yep, and this is going to be a Siren Steal. This is another situation where the Thunderclaw actually does bonus damage, but the Lady of the Lake in the cave distributing the sword bonus damage here, and that's a fight on the first floor. So we will see how many Sirens Inven thinks he needs to be ready to face Zeromus, but this is going to be a no moon seed here.
Absolutely. And the other interesting thing is we see a kamikaze being used on Kane, whereas he finishes himself off, just to minimize the amount of turn counts. So a little bit of an interesting fact for those who don't know, whereas Fleury is actually getting through this Wagon fight fairly easily and very handily. To steal the sirens from here, there actually is a little bit known of a bonus. The cry command from Porum actually enhances the ability for Edge to be stealing. If we had a Porum, these steals would be a whole lot easier as opposed to the luck roll that we have going on right now.
I will say, maybe it's just because it's later in the game, but I've found that the probability of stealing a siren is, in my best guess, somewhere like 5 or 6 out of 10. And if he was looking for whatever reason, the Bacchus wines that you can get from the Mad Ogres seem to roll much, much lower for me.
Yeah, but at this point, you've got a Fusoya who's going to be doing nothing but heal bot and or berserk duty and nerf duty. You don't need to be grabbing those. Just a quick little input commands with Cecil and Kane and Edge, have them do their attacks, and then berserk them up immediately after one quick nuke from Fu. There's no real need for you to go and find yourself a berserk item. It's nice, but it's a luxury that it's like you're getting to go mode about 45 minutes in. You're going to want to find yourself just getting through and rushing through. Any extra time is time that he's giving Fleury to catch up to him. Didn't quite see the item that he got from the treasure chest though.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I've always, like, if we saw Inven go down the hook route, we probably would have seen him try to do, a cheeky Toad and steal the Bacchus, but those sirens come, compared to other Final Fantasy games I've played where stealing seems to be something that never actually works. Those sirens come very quickly. It looks like he settled on 4 or 5. So we'll see what these levels end up with here. And Fleury gonna see this news, headed over to complete the Queen as well.
So Maggie the Cat actually being correct and being one of our other trackers that we have through many races, has those Hawkeyes. Color ribbon is in fact a ribbon that he got from the chest, so nothing exactly unfortunate to scoff at. Whereas Fleury, going to be doing this check down here, where Cecil almost just takes that fight out on his own, and that Thunderclaw actually doing a little bit of negative work on Inven's side because they're resistant to lightning. It is not a Thunderclaw.
I refuse to hear that blasphemy against the Thunderclaw. The Thunderclaw, best claw.
I'd say a big one.
I had it equipped because it does bonus damage to the searcher there. But yeah, one of the few instances where Thunderclaw has maybe not the most value.
Absolutely. And remembering to take it off, he is going to give that black belt over to Cecil. We do know that in Tomra, that armor shop is selling black belts, so he could buy 2 more if he wants. Again, that's options that will take more time out of him. I assume as soon as these sirens are done, he's going right up to that pass store, and we're going to be getting the seed done real quick here.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the final amount of levels looks like. If that Rydia, I would guess maybe gets to Cure 4, but not some of the comfortable Zeromus fights that you see when you end up full clearing a seed for sure.
Then again, these are some of the racers that you don't want to see, that don't mind having a little bit more dangerous of a run because they don't need that padded HP. They's like, okay, this is the basic minimum amount that I need. And that Rosa getting Cure 4, she's going to be doing way more healing than is going to be necessary. Even if Fusoya goes down, all you really need is Cecil, Kane, and Edge. They're just going to wipe the floor with this Zeromus, especially that Excalibur Cecil.
Oh, could not agree with you more. This is going to be, and as Chad is pointing out, that Earth Crystal, while Fleury caught the other food that we've seen so far by getting that Sand Ruby, the Earth Crystal granted the pass, so this is going to give Fleury go mode. But Fleury is unfortunately not going to have access to Zeromus at this point.
That is very true. He needs to do Zot to get that pass and see those dupe characters of the key item bound characters, and then also have to do the grind that Invenerable is currently doing on his screen. He is going to catch up XP wise and not have to go as fast, but with the way this is going, Invenerable is very, very much in the driver's seat. Not to say that something can't go wrong. We could see Big Bang into Meteor knocking people down. It is not uncommon.
No, the levels here, like you said, very big or a very aggressive Big Bang will potentially knock out both FF4FE and the Rydia, but you don't have the ability to get characters up to Berserk without FF4FE and Rydia casting Berserk. So it is going to make for, you're going to see more Big Bangs, than typically you would see in a lot of the Zeromus fights that we broadcast here.
Absolutely. This is going to be a little bit scarier of a fight. Rosa with only 1,600, barely 1,700 HP. If he doesn't nerf every single one of these Big Bangs, she is going to be in a bit of danger if she eats a full power one. Edge in a little bit of danger himself, but everyone else is going to be fine. Fleury, though, gets that 5th objective put in, gets himself an Excalibur, and he is also he's in no mode, not quite go mode, because he still needs to finish Zot, or needs to find himself a Darkness Crystal.
So this is a 50-50 right now for Fleury, or well, technically maybe a 1 and 4, but he does have the Harp, he does have the Earth Crystal. So at this point, considering where he's landed, it's now definitely a 50-50. We might get music while we get if we can in the chat, maybe the Z flag's out, because it's flying right now.
Absolutely. And there are a couple of things we like to randomize. Both things on screen, as we see Fleury is headed towards music, so we are at least going to get that. Fleury may not take the win in the seed, but he's going to be the people's champion tonight. There's 2 things we randomize. 1 is the harp music that Edward plays. 2, Zeromus. We don't throw him around everywhere, but we do change what he looks like. And PK, what do we usually like to talk about when we talk about Zeromus?
I believe the question is, and then thank you for prompting me for it, would be, whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
In all honesty, what I'd actually like to see while Fleury is going and doing this twin heart check, I would love to see Edimus, just so he's playing music while we're beating him up on the other side.
Get your harps and your Z flags out simultaneously. This is a unique occurrence in the free enterprise community.
Yeah, I actually don't think we've seen this, maybe in a community race where we've seen like some people who were behind, but I don't think we've seen in a race of this caliber where we see music and Zeromus at the same time. This is very, very unique. But we are going to have that crystal thrown out. Inven is going to show us exactly the true form of Zeromus.
This is so Eddie is going to be Mary from the Lord of the Rings playing the song while Inven rides out against Zeromus here. So I guess this is the part where we be quiet, although this is my favorite point to talk. So let's see what we got from Eddie.
All right, and chat pointing out, we do have Gao's theme over on the right-hand side. We are going to hear it for a hot minute if audio doesn't swap back over to the Invenerable side, because that is the Gauntlet also back here, whereas Fleury, also to answer a question, is still looking for his way up to the moon. He hasn't checked Zot, had the option to go there and find himself the path that Invenerable used, But as of right now, it's just him going through this gauntlet and hoping that there's a darkness crystal back here. If not, that is not only the nail, that is a very, very big nail in the coffin. Whereas Invenerable is getting these reflected nukes going out and actually putting on a half decent amount of damage as well. Has that reflect on edge, which is probably the smartest one to be going on, because he's going to be doing the least amount of damage between a defense sword Kane and Excalibur black belt strength ring Cecil. This is Edge's kind of like the womp womp here.
Yeah, there aren't a lot of situations where you would say Edge at a Zeromus fight isn't putting up his own worth, particularly in these seats. But with the equipment you just mentioned, Edge is mostly cannon fodder. And we also Penguinator showed up in chat just to do Penguinator things, basically to say maybe this would be an interesting spot to use the Unicorn strat. I would be surprised if we saw that.
This is possibly interesting. I don't think we've seen a Unicorn though, so it's going to be Berserkers all the way, and with Cecil popping 4K, Kane actually not putting much damage more than what Edge is, only at the 17 to 2K mark, so it's fairly even damage-wise.
I love this. I was just in my head. I was just thinking that this is a unique situation in that you get a solo Mad Ogre, and we see Fleury trying to steal Bacchus wines from the Ogre. Didn't see if he got any. Maybe his inventory is full, because I ran into that issue, but that's a cheeky play right there.
Very cheeky. Also could have been very, very unlucky with those rolls, just not getting one. Whereas though this Edge has been putting up a whole lot of work this seed, even getting him through these trash mobs with that flame really quick, where Inven has a very easy, very casual fight on his hand in the way of this the Zeromus fight, and getting a little bit lucky with these nukes too, getting cast on against that wall, a little bit of bonus damage going on.
His team is living so far, and I mean, the further into this fight, as long as these Zerkers stay up, this is going to be, I believe, a big bang into the black hole, which will reset that Zerker status. But he did get the nerf off. I know he had been mentioning strategies to effectively nerf the big bangs, and it looks like he's using them very effectively right here.
Well, there's a big bang in the Meteor. It's not going to do enough damage, but it is very, very close, though. Good thing we had that Cure 4 queued up on Cecil. He's going to be finishing off this fight. That could have been very, very scary for Invenerable right there. I called it happening earlier. I've not seen it in a hot minute, but I'm glad we saw it tonight.
I did not notice the reward from music, but given what I've seen in the chat,
so the reward was actually an Artemis bow, so nothing really of value. Fleury going to the right place, but please get your GGs out in chat. Invenerable taking game 1 at 1 hour, 4 minutes, 34 seconds, and he's taking round 1 of this best of 3. Let's see if we can get him in here for a quick interview, though.
GG to Inven. That was nearly as quickly as you could probably have completed that. It sounds like we're joined by Inven. Congratulations, GG.
Hey, thank you. Sup, dude?
Yeah, Dudamus. So I was saying earlier, we had a conversation after your last rave briefly about the it was check your freebies.
Yeah,
when you saw that pink tail.
A little shocked, because I mean, if you have the team that can take care of a current objective, do the current objective. It may have another objective behind it. But yeah, there was a little bit of panic, but then I just, took a breath. I'm like, we have a pass. Let's not hunt a tent. Let's just look. I want to give a specific thanks to Dusty Griff, because back at I believe at the start of the brackets phase, he posted a clip on his Discord of doing relatively low-level Z strats where, I'm not sure if he had the Excalibur Crystal Sword, but he had really great weapons on a couple of melee fighters and just went in with the attitude of, I got a foo, I can nerf every big bang, we got the DPS, let's do this without over-grinding. And definitely was on the lower end of my comfort zone, but I'm glad I saw him do that, so I had the motivation to practice it myself, and look, it came in pretty handy.
Speaking of things that came in pretty handy, how did you like the free characters of it, all the nice gated characters in the seed and in really easy reach?
Yeah, that was nice too. I actually probably wouldn't have done Zot if I hadn't peeked the Kaipo bed and saw Fu there. But as soon as I knew Fu was in the seed, I'm like, okay, let's actually make the run up the tower and then we can link it into Baron if he's not there, because getting a Fu unlocks so much. Even though it's a melee heavy team, obviously, no great desire to do a big D machine slingshot. Just having him on any team pretty much improves it.
We saw you check the bed, and then we saw you loot the treasury, and then you got in the ship, and you half flew away. And I was saying, if I knew there was a Fu in the seed, I would consider going Earth Crystal. And then right as I said that, you turned around, and you decided that maybe you were going to make that check.
Yeah, that treasury was kind of hot garbage, except for the 2 sirens, and so I thought, I know it's Mylon or Mylon Z at the Asura spot. I could probably pop those sirens and go ahead and take down either of those just using cover strats. But then I thought, no, we didn't get a Kane weapon from there, or even a Cecil one to do the hand-me-down effect like we ended up doing. So I'm like, let me go for the character, and it worked out pretty well. So
this question actually comes from chat, and I'm kind of agreeing. What took you so long to sell that cat claw? You teased us at first, and you're like, "I'm gonna sell," and then you kept it. What was?
I honestly just wanted to tease chat. Like, I went to it and I hovered. I'm like, you know what? I may catch a little bit of hell with this, but I'm gonna keep it around just for a while. The bigger reason, like, okay, after last night, I finally came up with a reason to keep a cat claw around, and that's both Fleury and I in our practices last night had seeds with nasty wyvern spots and no cursed rings for sell. So at this point, I'm kind of a fan of it because of the +5 agility it gives. Not for many other reasons. And once I saw how my team was rounding out, I'm like, okay, we can finally let this go now.
So, hey, Inven, it's PK over here. You managed to make a check that got you an early edge, while both you and Fleury went ordeals when you had the edge and Fleury didn't have an edge, and I was over here crying to myself about it. And I told my friend in chat that the big difference between Duke and Inven is, I'm rooting for Inven to do as well as possible, which I've never done with Duke in the entirety of my life. So I had to bring that reference up, and I had to say, best of luck moving forward. You could hardly have routed that better. Maybe not doing Baron, considering, but that was an incredibly clean run. Do you have any other things you want to share?
Yeah, 2 things. One, also, I am rooting for myself, and I've never done that for Duke. I have rooted for Michigan State though. Cheers to you, PK. And I would like to apologize both to Rivers McCown and his wife. I'm trying to get the sub hour. Maybe one of these seeds. I can't get it yet. I'm trying, just not there yet.
You came real close there. Maybe Baron would have saved you that, but you could not have run that seed much better than that. That was impressive. Fleury, if you. Fleury got Luca Key from the Dwarf Castle, and that led to Twin Harp, which led to the Alt Gauntlet at Twin Harp. So he just completed Earth as far as our stream is concerned. So he ran into a couple of roadblocks that definitely threw some additional time. He still doesn't have a Darkness Crystal. It has to be.
It was in my spoiler log just a minute ago.
Exactly, and because we've seen it show up on your side. It was at the Odin spot, but he did get the pass from Zot, which he did while we were talking to him then.
Yeah, so Valvalis at Odin has the Darkness Crystal. I also saw in the spoiler log there was a vanilla tower key at the top of tower. Kind of wish, I knew I was at 9 key items, but of course there's that panic when you're in go mode that I kind of wish I'd gone up to the top of Lower Babylon and gotten that 10th key item just to speed the grind up and be a little stronger. But I think that Zeromus fight went pretty smoothly, so I can't complain too much.
Nerfs were on point.
So speaking of vanilla, there was actually a couple of other places. One, how'd you feel about the fact that we had a possibility of a vanilla final team? And two, we also had vanilla dolls and vanilla Luca key that you didn't get to see.
Oh, I only noticed the vanilla. Okay, so my brain has like hanging out mode and racing mode. And in racing mode, I do not notice a single bit of vanilla. It has to be something that really slaps me in the face for me to pick up on the vanilla aspects. So it just doesn't hit me the same way when I'm in that mindset. So sorry, nothing cheeky there.
All right, again, so how do you feel taking game 1 of this 3-game series against Fleury, and how are you feeling about the semifinals so far?
I feel, oh my gosh. Did I forget to, okay, sorry. I just reset my game to pull up my save to see what my levels were at, and I don't think I saved before that Zeromus fight, and now I'm even more panicked. I hope I don't do that in future matches, but it's going to be up 1-0. It means that you don't have to gamble too much. It means that you can gamble a little bit in game 2 if you want without having to worry about ruining your series. And Fleury's an amazing racer, solid, glad to be up now just so that I have that margin of error going forward. So always good, but it's that extra buffer, and every little bit helps. But really do want to thank y'all on the Restream team. We've had everyone who does this Restream work on the Free Enterprise server, having back-to-back matches tonight, making sure both these semis went up. Y'all are the ones who really make the community just bloom and grow, giving everyone, the means to enjoy these races like you do. So huge thanks to y'all. And yeah, that's all I got.
I mean, I'm sure you'll see if you watch this back, but we had a ridiculous outpouring of support for the community. There were 70 gift subs given out tonight, so thank you for letting us commentate while you ran. And yeah, again, Twisted Flax on the on the tracking and Smapety on the restream. They deserved all the love possible.
Again,
well, I'm gonna dip out of voice chat. I'm looking forward to seeing y'all wrap this up tonight, and I will catch y'all. I'm sure tomorrow there's gonna be another amazing match on the other series. Looking forward to it. But yeah, I'm gonna turn a fan way up and get this headset off. I'll see y'all later.
GG, take care.
Well deserved. Again, that was Invenerable, round 1 winner at a time of 1 hour, 4 minutes, 34 seconds. And while we were talking, Fleury A found himself the pass in the Tower of Zod, and B is in the middle of a Fast and Furious fight against Zeromus, and he does have a cane go down and gets him back up pretty quick and is going to get this under control. His edge is actually dishing out a fair bit more damage. Looks like he may have kept probably that black belt or bought another one for him. Not quite sure what his gear was, but he is hitting a fair bit harder than even what Invenerable's cane was.
Yeah, that's nearly double the damage that we saw Invenerable's edge doing. So, black belt, maybe even something like a strength ring as well.
Yeah, he may have kept that armor, that level of gear on him, just so he does the more damage, spread it out a little bit more.
Given the levels, that Kane and that Cecil aren't quite as beefy as we saw Inven's, but using a similar strategy, nerfing the later Big Bangs, which is a risk that you take because you have to eat one of those nukes.
Also, a little bit of divergence in the party makeup. We see that Fu is actually doing damage up on the top side, whereas Rosa is the anchor that we have going on here. Not exactly a bad idea, considering those Cure 4s are will be a full heal if single targeted. And still, she has a great set of stats to be getting around one way or the other. Whereas this Kayn is actually throwing out the crystal and helping with the nerfing. Ooh, Cecil did a little bit late to the party, doesn't get that Cure 4 though.
You don't like to see that. And yeah, the Fusoya, I would think he didn't quite get Rosa up to the level of Cure 4.
Oh, there it is, right there.
Oh, yeah, never mind. But you have that Stardust Rod. You're probably thinking in the back of your head that, you know, maybe I get a couple nukes off and chip away at some of this damage. But this is, I mean, if you want to see, again, you know, a lot of the Zeromus fights that we broadcast are just overly beefy teams just knocking this guy to the ground. But if you want to see, you know, what you do when you're trying to go incredibly quick, this is what it looks like.
Absolutely. Super shoutouts to both Invenerable and Fleury for not only showing us a little bit of different routing in some aspects, but also the fact that we're seeing lower levels of Roma strats. It's nice to see that we're not just doing pure reflect or something like that, or grind up to where everybody has new kind of levels, but we're seeing like 1400 on that Rosa, Cecil eating a nuke and dying, and then Big Bang doing its work. Like, we're seeing strategies that are them playing a little bit riskier because they can. But this is also showing why these guys are in the top, not only the semifinals, but why they were the top 5, top 10 of their seeds. They are showing the skills that can come with practice and can come with, you know, the amount of time that you put into these games, and they are phenomenal runners.
Yeah, I mean, this is 1:17:30, and it might not look like it, but this is a very, very tight fight as far as inputs go. But I mean, Fleury is making it look relatively mundane. Although, I mean, you're always on the edge of the cliff right now when you're playing with everybody in your party below 2K.
Absolutely. And speaking of inputs, the nice thing is there are some runners who actually show us we can see the inputs going in. So you see just how lightning fast some of these are being input. He's getting those buttons so quick you don't really see the down presses. Obviously, hitting the A button when it's idle. That nuke on that Fu, though, could be pretty scary if this Big Bang comes immediately. If he gets a chance to get a Cure 3 pot off, or even this Cure 4 cast with Rosa, instead opting for Berserk, though, could still get that Fu up and fully healed before this Big Bang comes out.
We'll see. I mean, this is the issue that I think is the big thing that in your head you have to keep track of when you start getting those Big Bangs into the black holes, is that you have to keep doing damage. It's not enough, you know, just to keep your party alive and continuing, living for the duration of the fight. You have to figure out a way to continue dealing damage. So I don't disagree with assuming you get the nerf off, you can life up food, you can do that, but you need to be putting out damage because you don't win a war of attrition with Zeromus.
Speaking of War of Attrition, we have Rocks falling. He is going to be getting that War of Attrition 1, a couple more hits, and we are going to have another Dude Miss hitting the ground. But these cures are going to come out pretty quickly, and another couple of hits from Cecil. That last one actually does it. There's the flash. There's your GGs. Get them out in chat for Fleury. It is a 1 hour, 19 minute, 53 seconds SRL official time, and we'll see if we can get him in for an interview as well. So PK, seeing that seed, what was probably the highlight that you personally had so far of seeing what we had or what was where?
This was one of those seeds where some of the decisions you make, may or may not cost you, and some of them might cost you. And this was one that rewarded, that early hook character check in a way that it typically might not. But it sounds like we have Fleury in the chat. GG Fleury.
Thank you.
Yes, GG's, really well run race. So give us a little bit of thoughts on this seed overall for you.
I was actually pretty happy with how I ran this. I was telling Inven earlier, that was the kind of race where I don't actually feel bad about losing, because I felt like it was pretty clean, and I just guessed wrong. I was, after you have everything on the table, it was Harp, the Luca Harp chain, Zot, Odin, Valet Odin, or that Leviathan spot, and I chose wrong. That's all it was. Going back on it, the one mistake I think I made was I reflexively, when I went into Dwarf Castle, the plan was I don't have Nuke yet. Maybe that's Darkness Crystal, and that'd be great. But as soon as I get Nuke, I should take out the Asura spot, just in case it has the pink tail, and then go from there. And I didn't. I did Luca first because always sealed, I guess. I don't know. And then after that, after I got, pretty much everything except A Way to the Moon, I was like, well, I had to guess which one. Now, honestly, if I had not done the Luca cave and I'm sitting at Luca versus Zot versus Odin or Leviathan spot, I think I still choose Luca anyway. So I can't really blame that totally on why I lost. Just sometimes you fall down a chain, you get stuck, and that's what happened here. I was very bummed I didn't get to steal Bacchae from the ogres. I'm guessing magic defense might have something to do with the steal rate, but I thought that was going to be a little bit of a cheeky play. Then I was very happy with the Zeromus fight going in at level 30 something. That was kind of, I want to at least put something in Inven's head for next race that, hey, I can do a level 35 Z fight if I have to, just so you know.
Absolutely. Actually, he was in chat. He was commenting that you were lower level than what he was, and he also did a semi-low level Z fight himself. But yeah, beautifully executed on that front. Yeah, you got rabbit holed a little bit here and there, but overall, the really well executed run. So, how did you feel about the both high-tier characters that can be gated behind key items were gated and were both easily available in the seed?
I mean, the chances are you're gonna get one of them in one of these seeds anyway. The percentages say you're probably gonna see at least one of them. Was a little lucky that I decided to check Hook because I wanted to find exits first before actually making that check. That's why I did a little bit. I pushed my shopping a little bit earlier than I like to. Also, I know from watching Inven will skip that character check sometimes too, and although when he does it, it's always a foo. He didn't, so it wasn't a foo there. He was somewhere else. But yeah, after seeing the dupe on Hobbs, I had wanted to check that character at some point. And yeah, I was very, very happy it was Edge, because I was planning on possibly resetting, and I saw cabins and tents in that shop, and I was like, well, now I gotta take this. Please be a character that I want. It was Edge. It was a character I wanted. I got to use the Thunderclaw.
Thunderclaw.
Yeah, we had uses of both claws there, and yeah, the Evelyn Cave was nothing but a campground for people. Great character, great set of items, and a whole lot of decent loot there too. So again, down one race, how are you feeling, and how are you going to prepare for your next match?
Well, since PK is here, I should probably summarize it in a way like, only have to take it one game at a time. It is what it is. Got to give 110%. The person who's going to beat Zeromus is going to be the person that actually wins the game. So as long as I can beat Zeromus first, I'm going to win the next game, and then that's game 2. So then next time, take it one game at a time, game 3, and then beat Zeromus first again. As long as I can do those 2 things, then the destiny is in my hands, and I'm all out of cliches.
whoever finishes the race first is gonna probably win the race.
More often than not.
All right, fantastic. Love the days. Again, well run. Hour 19 to knock out as much of that seed as you did. Nothing really to scoff at, especially with showing off and flexing those muscles, which I kind of hoping Ben takes that and go, maybe I should learn to grind a little less, because you pulled off a little bit lower of a Z fight, and you actually did something a little bit different that I saw, was you had Rosa as your anchor as opposed to Fusoya. What caused you to do that instead?
HP count. That's all it was. Fu had I had to have RA. I didn't have to have RA1, but nerfing nukes is nerfing Big Bangs is way more reliable when Zeromus is at RA1 for me. I can do it at RA2. I usually just have to lower the battle speed for it. And I also wanted to take advantage of RA1 because I had an Excal. So as much damage as I can get there. And Cure 4 is still going to heal for single target for a full HP. So the plan was, throw out the crystal, leave Kane unzerked. They're gonna life whoever it is. Fu throws out a Cure 4, and then Rosa single target heals whoever comes up. And then as long as I don't get like an unfortunate combo bladder, it'd be fine. So yeah, that's kind of why I went with Rosa as the anchor. You don't usually see Rosa with a cursed ring, but you did today.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch this back, you'll see a lot of it. A lot of it came down to just to make the mockery of myself. The right choices at the right time.
If you take the right path, you're always going to win.
Yeah. You were like, it's every time you dive the cave looking for a character, it's the wrong character. Every time you don't dive the cave, the other person did dive the cave and it's the character you're looking for. Earth Crystal was like a very similar story, but I'm excited for round 2. Just one or two things differently by either runner, and it's a completely different outcome. And I know from experience that you're definitely game to take game 2 and bring some balance to this. And it was a pleasure to watch you.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm hoping for. I think at this level, especially when you get a linear seed like that, really it doesn't take much to differentiate the two runners, and if you just make one wrong check, that can be the difference. And Inven is a very, very, very good runner, and you can't really give away a Harp and a Gauntlet and a Luca Key. As much as the fans wanted to see it, you can't give away that kind of a time sink on a linear seed and hope to get away with it. So, you know what? That was game 1. I'm ready for game 2. I'm very happy with how I played, decision making notwithstanding, and yeah, hopefully we get to game 3. That'd be great.
You say that, but you gave the people what we want. You may not be the winner of round 1, but you are the people's champion. You gave everyone Gao's theme, and that was the important thing in the end. But
I did skip the job dwarf, so don't hate me for that.
Look, we're not going to talk about that, although we're going to mention that, but we're letting you slide because you gave us music. Again, very, very well run. GG's, Fleury, on your race, and we are excited to see you in the next couple of days and come back for round 2 and hopefully land a knockout yourself. Are you going to be the first one to give Invenerable his first loss, though, is what we need.
I really want to. I really, really want to. So I'm kind of hoping. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But I'm putting in the work to do it, and that's all you can do. I'm a little disappointed that I didn't see nearly as much vanilla. I know you didn't roll the seed, but you did commentate on it, so I was kind of hoping
not enough
to
vanilla.
maybe get a little more vanilla. I mean, Vanilla Edge pretty good, but
Vanilla Dolls and Vanilla Luca Key?
Vanilla Dolls was okay. I mean, I'm just waiting for you to end up running a no 64 seed. It ends up being fully vanilla. I accidentally left the vanilla flags on. Don't tell anyone.
Look, don't tell anybody next time. Anyways, GG, Fleury. Well run. I'm excited to see you next round.
All right, thanks, guys. Take care. Appreciate you taking the time out to do the commentary, tracking, restreaming, and all that. And hopefully I whoop Inven's butt next race.
Absolutely. Again, that was Fleury14, second place in the race, first place in our hearts of the music. That is actually going to be all from us for today. That is the two races we had, one on RPG Limit Break, one here. But what we are going to do is we're going to toss you to Randomania 2, where they're in the midst of a Final Fantasy 1 randomizer race, though. So if you guys would like, stick around, show them some love and appreciation, enjoy the race that's going on there. There's more randomizer action happening real soon.